Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay, here to talk Packers. We've got a Chalk Talk episode for you guys and gals this evening. Before we get into that, we're also going to hit on the national media, what the national pundits are saying about the Packers win over the Steelers and whatnot. So we'll hear from a Stephen A. Smith. We'll hear from a Dan Orlovsky, kind of some mixed reviews in that regard. It's going to be a lot of fun to dive into that. I like to just kind of comb through the mainstream and see what they're saying about the Packers. I know we've all got our own opinions here. None of us agree 100% on this show, whether it's the hosts or it's the everybody, the folks in the chat. So it's going to be fun to kind of break that down and see exactly what these guys are saying about the Packers currently. But before we get into all that, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for us, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on the daily. So if that's the type of content you're looking for, make sure you hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. And tonight, typically this is the Wednesday night show, but I got another show I've got to attend to tomorrow, so I didn't want to overbook. I'm going to be on the NFC North Roundtable tomorrow. I got invited to replace Baz. Not replace him, but he's out of town, so I'm just going to kind of sub in for him. So I didn't want to be too stressed tomorrow, Tim, kind of getting geared up, ready for Chalk Talk. So we got everything ready to go. I said, heck, let's just do it tonight. So that's what you guys and gals are tuning into this evening, is the film breakdown after we cover some of the national media stuff. So appreciate y'all making this a part of your evening. I see the chat is on fire. Thank y'all for hopping in here with us. You guys and gals are awesome in there. Tim, how you doing, bub?
I'm doing good, man. Happy to hear you're on the round table. That's awesome, man. We get a little early Chalk Talk, you know. I mean, obviously you can't replace Baz, but you can fill in, though. I love it. I'll be tuned in for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's I got to be honest with you. It's not something I enjoy that much. I don't like being in front of the camera. It took me forever to get to where we would do the show in front of the camera. Just an introvert type person like that. So when I go on a show with other hosts and stuff, I'm kind of in here. It's like
a bunch of divisional rivals,
right? Yeah. And again, it's just when you're the visitor, you're kind of out of place. You don't want to overstep your boundaries. So it's like, okay, here I can get myself canceled, no problem. You know what I mean? It's on me. So that's I don't know. It'll be a little uncomfortable. Those guys are cool though. It's I've been in the chat with them for quite some time. So anyway. With that being said, man, let's jump into it. Our first topic here, Stephen A. Smith. Tim, he was on First Take reacting to this win over the Steelers. And let's just say Stephen A. Smith wasn't that impressed. So let's see what Stephen A. Smith, or hear what Stephen A. Smith had to say about the Packers coming off of that victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and more specifically, the fact that the Packers outscored the Steelers 21-6 there in the fourth quarter. Here we go. Stephen A. Smith from First Take, audio courtesy of ESPN.
Now, for me, all of y'all looking out for me last week. Thank you very much. Let me say this to y'all. How we gonna sit here and talk about the Packers defense, the Packers offense, and we just gonna flippantly throw aside, I know the Steelers defense is awful. Well, duh. If you're that damn awful, then of course your offense is going to look this way. Jordan Love completed 78% of his passes last night. 76% of them 76 of his passes was completed in man coverage, okay? Where he had 232 yards and 3 touchdowns with no interceptions, no sacks. I'm talking about against man coverage alone, not the 300 plus he threw for the game. Let's look at the Steelers that we're talking about here. Outscored 28-9 in the second half. They've got the 30th ranked defense in the National Football League. They've given up 6.
I love it when people say the whatever ranked defense in the National Football League, but they don't tell you exactly what metric they're going off of. You know what I mean, Tim? It's funny how that works, dude. You're muted, buddy. Appreciate you muting too. I know you're probably getting an echo, but isn't it funny how
I love when their voices crack because they're so impassioned with their statements.
Yeah. So again, for me, it's like Okay, what stat are you referring to? Are you talking about scoring? Are you talking about total yards per play, total yards per game? Is it rushing yards? You know
I
what I'm
love the
saying?
subliminal props he gave to Jordan Love for carving up man-to-man coverage. Also.
Right. Yeah. And he'll go on to say too, it's funny how we're pretending like the Steelers defense is absolutely horrible all of a sudden, but they're the highest paid defense. We'll continue here though.
68 points and losing back-to-back games. This is the fourth time this year in 7 games the Steelers have surrendered a minimum of 30 points. Oh, by the way, they got the highest paid defense in the National Football League. They paid.
Well, Steven, that's not a bad thing, sir. That means they have paid for the top defense in the league, right? Whether teams have figured that out and schematically they're kind of on their heels right now and having to adjust says one thing, but the fact that you're pointing out that they are the highest paid defense, meaning TJ Watt, is he all of a sudden a bad football player? Meaning Cam Hayward, is he all of a sudden a bad football player? You know what I'm saying, Tim? It's funny how you kind of pick and choose those points, you know?
Yep. Only good and great players in the NFL, right?
Right. Exactly.
Paid about $155 to $165 million on their defense this offseason. And what are we getting from them? They are on pace to have the worst ranking of their franchise history since finishing the 1988 season dead last. These are the Steelers we're talking about here.
These are the Steelers.
Okay, where there's no defense. There's no defense in the Steel City. Okay, you can run on them. You can pass on them. You can do whatever you want to do when you want to do. You can call your honey. You can sit up there, order Uber Eats. You can sit up there and have a conversation. How you doing before you throw a damn pass? Ain't nobody in the vicinity when TJ Watt getting $41 million. When Cam Hayward got paid up. Even though Highsmith and those brothers got to get healthy. Elliott goes out.
By the way, that's 2 tier 1 positions of importance. The most important positions on a defense.
Yeah, if you're going to spend money on your D, those are the positions you do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Darius Slay, him and Elliott get burned before Elliott goes out with his injury, and I hope he's okay. Everywhere you turn, the Pittsburgh Steelers, it don't matter who they're going up against. Their defense is not impressive. We didn't anticipate that coming into this season. What we thought was, all they needed was good quarterback play. Aaron Rodgers has given them that, and they don't have a defense that can stop anybody. That's the problem. So don't come to me about Green Bay and what Green Bay is.
I don't want to
hear. We saw them give up 40. We saw them give up 40 and settle for a tie against the Dallas Cowboys, okay? Even though the offense is prolific. The point is, if you Green Bay, all right, you're a damn good team, but you could be had. Just don't use the Steelers as the example, as the litmus test, Woody, to judge them.
See, he ended with something that was kind of logical to me.
Yeah.
Trying
to save it, right? Trying to save all that other stuff.
Yeah, so, because the way I see that too, he makes some good points there at the end is like, they can be had. Absolutely, they can be had. I had a conversation earlier today, Tim, on X. I posted Matt LaFleur, guys. He's officially, I think, 11th or 12th in winning percentage now. He has now officially passed Shula and Paul Brown, and there was another one too, another Hall of Fame. He just passed 3 Hall of Fame coaches in winning percentage, right? Yeah. And I posted that, and the guy came in and said, "You better not lose to the Panthers this week." I immediately quote tweeted him and was like, "Newsflash, they may lose to the Panthers." Yeah. Like, for us to sit here and pretend like this team can't be beat all of a sudden because they're playing good football, but there's a portion of the fan base. Let me translate what that fan was saying. That fan was saying, "I hope they lose this week so I can come back and dunk on the fact that you think Matt LaFleur is so good." The people that fan like that, I don't know how you get through the football season. You got to be miserable.
Yeah, I don't understand.
But with that being said, as Professor Cake says, who's he yelling at? Pop down, Stephen. Talk about Stephen A. Smith. Listen, that's his shtick. We know that, right? And honestly, they probably told him to have that take going into the show, right? But again, him saying that they can be had, of course they can be had, man. Anybody in the league could be had at any moment, right? But the fact that you went out there and you were able to successfully game plan against one of the best edge rushers in the game in TJ Watt, and plus a great 3-tech that can also play nose in Cam Hayward, and you got one of the last I checked, Tim, people put Mike Tomlin on this pedestal like he's just one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game, right? We know their special teams coordinator has got legendary status. Like, this is a good organization. You're going up against one of the all-time greats who's playing excellent football. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers played great in that game too.
Yep.
And it still wasn't enough for them to beat the Green Bay Packers at home. And let's be honest, Tim, that 35-25 score that ended up being, it really wasn't that close. At the end there, it kind of tightened it up a little bit. But there was one point that I was thinking about going live in like the fourth quarter, like early in the fourth.
Yeah.
So
it's like you always talk about, right? You're gathering intel early in the first quarter, first and second quarter, you're making your adjustments. You want to win the middle eight. We didn't exactly win the middle eight, but I don't know if we exactly lost it either, because we came out swinging in that third quarter, and it's a testament to just this team and what they were willing to do on the road to get a dub. That's all we care about as fans. You can fan how you want. I care about the Green Bay Packers first and foremost and getting the win. That's it. The rest of the narrative and, hyperbole is, what it is, right?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go to the chat, see what everybody's saying in here. Coach Lynn says Cam Newton was skeptical of us also. He should know better. Cam Newton, he's a great quarterback, great football player, right? I think he's got a place etched in NFL history. Is he a Hall of Famer? I wouldn't put him in a Hall of Fame, but if people want to put a former MVP player in the Hall of Fame and one that was kind of a dual threat and one of the better rushing quarterbacks, I can understand why you would want to do that.
I think it's debatable, right? It's open for debate. Yep.
What I was going to say is, Coach, he's got some of the worst takes, man, for someone who knew the game so well, right, and played so well in his time in the National Football League. So I'm with you there, man. And then we got JROR STA, we'll just leave it at that, says, no one can answer my question. When Rodgers had that fumble incomplete pass, why wasn't it intentional grounding? All I seen was offensive and defensive line.
Oh, I can answer.
Let's hear it. Tim,
I can answer. That's football IQ on 1,000 from one of the greatest to ever sling the football. Realizing that his running back was actually 2.5 feet to his right, and knowing if he dirts it, technically there's a receiver in the area. So that was just a heads up play by Aaron Rodgers right there. That's why it went that way. I know when you see the traffic, it looks crazy, right. Like how could you say, but
I was mad, Tim. I was mad.
Oh, I was too at first glance, right? That's why we watch these games 3, 4, 5, 6 times before we talk about it, right? So when you see a couple of replays, you realize that was just a high IQ play. Very similar to Randall Cobb taking the kick with a foot out of bounds a couple of years ago, knowing the rules moment. That was a knowing the rules moment for Aaron Rodgers, realizing that was in fact not a right tackle or a guard. That was his running back in the skirmish, and he was able to dirt that ball for an incomplete pass.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was there, JR. I'm just going to call you JR there, buddy. That's exactly what it was and when you watch it in super slow motion, seeing his hand just do just enough for a forward pass, I was just like, this guy's so damn good. He's so smart. He just knows where everybody is on the field at all times. Yep. And it's really interesting. I've enjoyed being on the other side of that a little bit to kind of see it through the eyes of another fan base, if that makes sense, because obviously we rooted for Aaron Rodgers for so long. But man, oh man, is he's still something else. He really is. So it was just so nice getting that victory over him, though, for Jordan Love.
And my understanding is that you don't have to necessarily be running a route, right? You just have to be an eligible receiver in the area, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. So, and I don't know all the details there, but I think I have not seen anybody say, no, that was a bad call. Anyone who understands the rules way better than me. I'm not sitting there sounding like I'm the grand poobah, right? But anyone who understands the rules at a high level, none of those people were going, no, that was actually intentional grounding. So I imagine whether he was actually running a route or just in the vicinity, it was still within the rules. So Romero Hill says it's not our fault. Their defense is bad. Talking about the Steelers. If we would have lost, we aren't as good as we thought they were. Go Pack, go. I don't know what that means, Tim. Can you help me out there? What taught
beat who's in front of you. So I think I get what he's saying.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, you can only play the team that you faced against, right? So I don't ever look at. Listen, we see it every week. There's an upset. And that's also a guy said. That's another thing I said to the guy on Twitter was like, this happens every single week in the NFL that a team gets upset. So you never apologize when you beat a team that you're better than, right? Here's the crazy thing. going into that game, Tim, what was the point spread? What did we talk about the point spread being 3 points?
I was going to say 3.5 or 3, something like that. Yeah.
So you beat them, you covered the spread by 7 points, and all of a sudden that's a bad win. That's not how it works. It's just not how you're either secretly trolling, not Romero, obviously. I'm talking about the guy on Twitter. You're either secretly trolling the Packers, you're supposedly your favorite team, or you just don't understand how point spreads work and how true odds work in the National Football League. Like if you go out there and you're 14-point favorites and you get beat by 21 points or something, now you got a reason to complain. Like, hey, look, man, we should have won that game and we just didn't show up type thing. I think there's a portion of the fan base that truly is looking for something to complain about. But
I agree. And when it comes to the guys strapping on the pads and the helmets, they don't give a rat's ass about any of that once it's time to play football, right? You're playing the man in front of you. It's 11 on 11. Win your matchups, do your job, right? Leave the hype for before and after the game. When we're in between the lines, we're playing football, right?
Yeah, definitely. 2-0 for this says, and nobody had a defense that can stop silly body. You got that right. Professor Cakes in the chat says, don't the Steelers have 2, maybe 3 potential Hall of Fame players, Wyatt, Ramsey, and Hayward? Absolutely they do, right? And you know what's crazy is like Patrick Queen, when he was signed to the Steelers or what have you, there was a lot of buzz around him. Now he's having a bad year, right? And has he lived up to that hype? I don't know. But you look at that defense as a whole and you go, man, they've got some solid players all the way across that defense. And like I said, you're supposed to have one of the best head coaches in the history of the game in Mike Tomlin, which, by the way, Matt LaFleur has blown his doors off in winning percentage. So he just needs that ring. That's the only thing they can hold over your head when it comes to Tomlin and Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur needs that Super Bowl ring. So,
yeah, that would be the 4th potential Hall of Famer, right? I would think Mike Tomlin's probably going to go in as a coach for sure, right?
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let us know if you're watching this video back later. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about Stephen A. Smith's comments? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Do you think there's a little bit of a bias when it comes to the national media covering the Packers? We want to hear from you in the comments. Make sure you click like, hit subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right, let's move along to another pundit who had a take on the Packers. I think you guys are going to be happy with this one. Mr. Dan Orlovsky. Now, listen, I don't know if people like Dan Orlovsky or not. I enjoy his insight. I understand he was not a good NFL quarterback. I don't think anybody's ever going to argue that. But the fact that he made it to the National Football League level and stayed in the league for as long as he did, I think it says a lot about Dano. And anyone who understands football, the beautiful thing about once you learn how to watch tape and you learn the X's and O's and you really start to press into understanding the game at a different level, when someone talks about breaking down the tape, you can tell real quick whether they're a fraud or not. Dano is not a fraud when it comes down to breaking down the tape. This dude knows the game of football inside and out. I think he's well-spoken. I think he's got a good attitude. I like the fact that he is so, what's the word I'm looking for here? Bold in his Christian faith. He'll talk about that. I appreciate it, especially on ESPN, where that'll get your ass run off the network. You know what I mean? I love the fact that he's very bold in that regard. But here's what Dan Orlovsky had to say. This was on the Pat McAfee show. I think it was earlier today, and or maybe it was yesterday. It was actually yesterday. They were asking him about the Green Bay Packers. More specifically, this is A.J. Hawk, which, by the way, is up for the Hall of Fame this year, right? He's a nominee, but first time I believe he made the what I guess it's called nomination, right? Where you kind of make you clear the first wave of whatever it is.
First year eligibility, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know if it's first year. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is first year eligibility. Nonetheless, so there are people that are voting on A.J. Hawk being in the Hall of Fame. Do I think he's a Hall of Famer? No, I don't. But he's one of my favorite Packers of all time, man. Love the way that dude played the game.
Tackling machine, baby.
Yeah. Here's A.J. Hawk asking Dan Orlovsky about the Green Bay Packers. And again, this is courtesy of Pat McAfee Show.
Yeah, Dano, the Packers obviously last night looked very good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jordan Love, when you watch him play, are you seeing, like, he looked pretty damn good last night. What do you see when you watch him progress, like, as a player in this league? He seems to me like he is supremely confident, and I just love that he takes shots down the field and he's not scared.
Yeah, if their under center play action game is working, you can't stop their offense. You just got to hope that you can hold them down in the red zone. That's when they're at their best. Their offensive line has not played great this year, so that under center is a big deal. And then Jordan's just being really great with his decision making. This is the guy that has, for a couple years now, been crushed with his decision making, or in many people's eyes that he's been a poor decision maker. His decision making has been as good as basically any quarterback in football this year. Jordan Loves.
I love that comment. His decision making has been as good as any quarterback in the National Football League this year. And I could not agree more. You guys know last year, what did we talk about? Got to fix the interceptions. And we kept coming back to, but he's playing hurt. You could tell he can't really step into the throw. He's lost his mobility. He's playing with that brace. Then he had the issue where I think he hit his elbow toward the end of the year. And then he ends up, what was it? Not a hammy, a groin, I believe he was dealing with on the backside of the season as well. All those things gave you just enough of a reason to hesitate a little bit on, like, okay, is he truly going to be one of those elite quarterbacks? Well, we went into this year, Tim, and we were talking about this. We got Emilio joining us now, too. We'll get his take in a second. Going into this year, the one thing we talked about is protecting the football. And I remember specifically saying, listen, if he gets to like 28 touchdowns and 5 interceptions or less, right? Anything over 30 touchdowns, you go to 7 interceptions, this is going to be a good football team. Lo and behold, we look up, and I think he's tracking 32 touchdowns and 5 interceptions right now, I believe. So we're in a good spot in terms of how he's making great decisions on the field. I couldn't agree more with Dan Orlovsky. What do you think, Tim?
I agree with that. And a lot of it is pre-snap, decision making too. I think that's, something about Jordan's game that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to. The ability to check out of the run to a pass or vice versa, based on a pre-snap read, and then being able to react to that post-snap. And you may not even get to your second progression. You may just see a hot and hit it. I think Jordan's more decisive. He certainly looks like he has more command over Matt LaFleur's offense this year. And maybe last year, when he was in the process of hitting his stride, that time that he missed, having to watch, Malik Willis win a couple of ball games for us and stand on the sideline with the headset in, you got to think that maybe that had something to do with the fact that it gave him time to process the game from a different vantage point. And then once he got back on the field, despite the physical ailments that were kind of holding him back, we could see that those looks were there. Those adjustments were there. Motioning a guy when you need to, waving a guy off when you need to, all of these things based on what you're seeing pre and post snap, I think really attribute to Jordan taking that next step right now.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Emilio?
Absolutely. I think he's, just coming into his own, everything that we wanted him to be, everything that we thought he could be when we went out and picked him. You get the immediate reaction from the fans and the uproar of, why didn't you get a wide receiver? Why didn't you get an edge, whatever it may be at the time. But at this moment, through 3-4 years past, looking down the line, 5-6, as this time comes up, man, I'm just so blessed that we have him on this team. We're so lucky. The way he carries himself, the way he holds himself, brings that, that emotion to the team, but he doesn't need to be there's just a few different types of leaders, and I'm totally fine with the way he is, because I think it was Greg Cosell was saying the heartbeat of a team is or maybe it was DJ, the heartbeat of the team is the running back, but we have the leader behind center, right? And I think we're set in those ways. And he's, like we went over last night, top 10 in basically everything and probably top 5.
Yeah. Let's go to the chat, see what everybody's saying. 2-0 for this says his decision-making is due to the fact he knows he can make throws, which is why last year was so rough with the injuries. It's a great point. When you've got that confidence that you can make that throw, that you can thread that needle, that throw he dropped in the bucket to Christian Watson. I don't know if you guys have seen the still shot of that Pittsburgh Steeler completely.
That was a thing of beauty, man.
Yeah. And again, I tweeted, man, what a dime piece. Dropped it right in the bucket. And people are like, that was a duck. Packer fans, that was a duck. What are you talking about?
Come on, you never seen Michael Jordan hit a floater before right over the defense's hands? I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Drew D says, funny how the sacks have gone way down when he isn't injured. He also said the interceptions as well. It's a great point, Drew, right? It's like they just poof, disappeared, right? Nick McSwain says Love is a top 3 to 5 QB in almost every single advanced metric. It's just all the way across the board. Nick went on to say Shanahan doesn't let Purdy call audibles. That's wild. That's another thing I'll say, Emilio. In that game, hearing Matt LaFleur talk after the game was really, really exciting. What he said was, yeah, I seen him getting hot. I seen Jordan getting hot, and it was just like, you know what? I'm going to let him keep throwing it.
Just lean into it.
And there's still a portion of the fan base that thinks Matt LaFleur is conservative, and it's like, bro, I wouldn't have done that just because Jordan's hot. Hey, let's stick to the game plan. Let's remove the emotion. Matt was just like, you know what, Jordan, go out there and cut him up. What did he end up with? It was like 360 yards or something crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, over 350, just a dog, and 3 touchdowns. And it's the fact that, okay, your offensive coordinator, the man calling plays is your head coach. he gets final say anyway, right? So when he has that sort of faith in your starting quarterback and he's ready to let him rip, like Tim said, you get a couple vantage points when you're not starting. Me and Clay got to see Malik Willis cook it up and get it done in Tennessee. But it's like, all right, man, I wish I was out there with the boys. What can I do to get better? Knock on wood, we haven't seen that late over the middle San Fran play, right? It was the end of the game, and he didn't want have that back, but those little mistakes have gotten fewer and fewer and farther in between. He's making 20 pass records, 20 consecutive pass records. Before that one pick at home, it was, I don't know, 9 games or something since he had thrown a pick at home. So like all these things are kind of just sort of snowballing into a good season for our man.
Yeah, we're a long way from the old patting the ball, hanging onto it too long.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, this ball's coming out efficiently. It's coming out quick. He's extending plays when he needs to. And if it's not there, he's throwing it away or he's taking calculated risks, man. Huge steps between last year and this year.
And I honestly think he could probably take that quarterback wristband off. I honestly think he just has that on there to keep everybody else in line. Like
it's holding the tape on his thumb.
Yeah, it's a clear look.
It's just holding the tape.
It hides the thumb tape, exactly, Tim, because that man knows the offense like the back of his hand.
Really
I think him and Matt, if you had a quiz off in the offense, it would be a 98-99 sort of game.
Oh, no doubt. When we get into it here in a minute with Chalktalk, I'm telling you, there's a couple of plays that he cans into that's just like, yeah, he's got complete command of that offense. And kudos to Matt LaFleur for giving him that freedom for sure. Clint C says Love is a keeper. Completely agree with that. Nick McSwain kind of goes back to what we were saying. I can't imagine having a quarterback that doesn't have the ability to change plays if it's a bad look. Amen, Nick. Mm-hmm. Amen. Like one particular play, and again, we're not in the huddle. We're not in the meeting room. So you can't be 100% sure. But I think what he did was he looked over to Christian, and you could see him. He throws his finger up, and he does this. And I think what he told Christian was, give me a post. So yeah. I think it was probably something similar to a slot cross. They were looking to, with the slot cross, you got the number 2 will run a climb route, and then you got the dig on the backside. Mm-hmm. I think Jordan looked over to that side and checked it, and they probably had something they seen on tape with Pittsburgh. So what the routes ended up being was our boy Matthew Golden, who was the 2, he starts to run that climb, and then he cuts it upfield, and Christian just turns it into a post. So I think it was one of those try to get the safety to clamp down right on the climb, and then you turn it up, and Christian's on the backside if they get too aggressive. Well, guess what happened? That guy clamped down on Matthew Golden. You look at the stats on Matthew Golden's stat line, and you go, man, he had a bad game. He caught all 4 targets. He only had 40 yards. That's one play particular that you could see that defense was clamping down on the climb or the crosser the way they were starting to clamp down on Jaden Reed last year. And guess what happens? That opens things up over the top. So Matthew Golden, make no bones about it, he made an impact on that game.
He's drawing coverage, right? He's drawing attention. And you know what? That's a nuance of the game. We talk about cans all the time, right? Like a can. Mm-hmm. And then 2 fingers to the head is an alert, right? So it's the little nuance. It could look like a can. It's an alert. Your guy knows, our guys know, and we convert. You got to love it.
And who else did that before? 12, right? And watching the tape on that one where Key got burned on that deep ball, whoever that was, caught that one. You saw Rodgers sit there, literally looked like he did a little fishing reel on his hip, and then he just said, "Okay, bam, that's all you needed." You hide it from the backers, but your dude sees it, and it's over.
And guess what that play was? It was cover one man.
Yeah, he saw it.
Rodgers read it. They used motion. He stopped. And then it was funny, too, because Quay held his water as long as he could. And then he finally motioned over. And once he motioned over, the center pointed and looked at Rodgers like, you see it? And he went, yep, got it. Next thing you know, he's going over the top because he knew Keyshawn was going to bite on the double move. Yeah. That's a negative.
Casually walking to the line, catching a little fishing reel on his right hip. And it's like, okay, bam, I'm running a 9-corner fade, whatever you want me to do.
Yep. I was screaming at my TV. My wife will tell you. I was like, this ball's going deep. I could see it.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own way they watch the game. For me, Mandy will tell you, and sometimes it gets colorful language. But when the ball's snapped and I see a big play develop, my go-to line is, load it up. That's what I say. You can see a quarterback hits that back foot, lets that thing fly. Sometimes I add an F-bomb, and I ain't gonna lie.
Emilio's is hum that tater, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't. It gets a little colorful over here too, Clay. That's why we haven't done the old live stream during the game.
Can't do it, man. We'll be canceled so quick. Jason Y with the super chat. Thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, I thought Jordan took an important big step forward in this game. He made better decisions under pressure, which was one of the biggest weaknesses. A great point. Great point. Now, he made one mistake. That beautiful 56-yard pass to Tucker Kraft. Boy, I bet J Love got raked over the coals in the meeting room on that one because you should not have thrown that ball. Honestly, though, I think he was trying to throw it away and the pressure hit him and the ball went straight up in the air and it just so happened to fall right in Tucker's hands.
Yeah, I want to say there was some contact there, right? Or at least the rush was right in his grill.
Oh,
so
no,
it affected the throw.
Yeah, they smack him right in the mouth as he lets that thing go. But I'm completely with you, Jason. I think he's what you're doing is you're kind of flipping a weakness into a strength. I remember one time specifically, God, it was years ago. I mean, this was probably around, if I had to guess, I'd say 2012, 2013. Somebody interviewed Rodgers and they asked him what he did in the offseason. He said, every offseason I try to pick one or two things to work on that I was bad at. And the thing he said was my play action footwork and throwing the seam route against cover 2. I remember him saying that. And I'm telling you, it was like week 2 or week 3 that year. He hammered one down the seam. And I remember it was a play action set and he hit the base. And I remember looking at Mandy and going, he literally said that was the thing he worked on this offseason. It's just wild to see it come into fruition. But anyway, thank you for the super chat, Jason. Appreciate it. Let's continue here with Dano. We got a few more minutes and we'll get into Chalk Talk, y'all.
And then, the way that they use their different personnel, you see
12.
Tucker Kraft in one-on-one situations, the way that they create Dodd for situations, the check down game for them has been really consistent. The Williams use, they've got a lot of different pieces. They don't really need a number one receiver. Now, let me say this.
Say it again. They don't really need a number one.
Christian Watson being back was absolutely enormous. Christian Watson, when he's healthy and impacting their offense, just because his size and strength. They don't really have a size, speed, strength guy at the wide receiver spot outside of Christian. So when Christian's there, it's a different offense. I love the way that Jordan's been playing this year. I think he's playing the best football of his career.
Let's go down to Houston, Texas, with a huge win for them.
All right, so that's it. So again, that was Dan Orlovsky.
Almost like that guy knows ball, right? That guy you just heard talking.
Exactly. So that was Dan Orlovsky on the Pat McAfee show. So anything else you guys want to add to that? I love that he mentioned, gave it kind of a little shout out to LaFleur and his scheming ability. Obviously, man, LaFleur's on a different level. We're going to show you here in a minute on Chalk Talk, guys. It's going to make the people that are still not on the LaFleur train look real silly because he was dialing it up, man. The way he was using cheat motion to create leverage on plays, especially to Tucker Kraft, was just absolutely awesome.
The trips looks and what I was listening to Greg Cosell said, what I love about under center play action and now how it's kind of coming back a little bit more is that mesh point is so much longer and so much more hidden for the linebackers, right? So the quarterback's turning his back to him. He gets 3 yards back in the backfield, sticks the ball way out there, and then it comes in on that one I think it was a dig or a deep out to Christian. You see Love go under center, go out and sell that fake, and all the linebackers are running up to the line of scrimmage. They're sitting like 2 yards off the ball, and he pulls it, and they're, we got to backpedal. We got to start getting back, and it's over. And Greg Cosell's just like, that's why I think some of that's coming back. Obviously, you're looking point of attack, those RPOs off the shotgun sidecar. Those are nice, but the ball's right there. You're going most of the time to the other side of the line. It's just kind of predictable. So, and then again, probably your running back, how your running back likes to run too would take play in that. That's probably why we dove into pistol a little bit to give Josh Jacobs a little downhill head start.
Yeah. And with pistol, you keep the defense from keying in on a higher percentage side of the run, right? It's very, very balanced. Andy Watkins says, can we credit the O-line too? Very happy with him the past few games. That's the thing, man. Like Jordan has stayed fairly clean. We just talked about him getting hit on that throw to Tucker. But for the most part, man, I find myself, to Andy's point, I find myself going, Jordan, get rid of it, please. Get rid of it. Like you're holding it too long because the offensive line is holding up that long. It's like you're expecting something bad to happen, but Jordan just seems to get it out right on time, man. So.
It's perfect, too, considering the dynamic pass catchers that we have in this offense, right? So if you get that extra, 0.8 seconds or whatever it is, maybe it's an extra pat and you can hit a target downfield. That speaks to your O-line being able to hold up, despite all the injuries and personnel adjustments that we've had. one thing I think it has proven is that next man up mentality when it comes to the offensive line, particularly.
Mhm.
Jordan's ready to play with whoever the hell's on the field, man. I'm not worried at all about taking a step back because somebody's down. At this point, we're 8 games in. We're used to seeing it, right? And I think if we're used to it, I think Jordan's handling it perfectly, right? He's more than used to it at this point.
Yeah, I'm glad we touched up the foundation. Went back toward the dirt back, hit some waterproofing on the side of it, made sure we sealed all that up. So I'm glad we can get that wall get going on the rest of the building there because I think you get them going, right? We've always talked about how defense gets going earlier in the season. They always get the jump when the season starts. How about the offense starts taking off here in the second half?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. So, for those of you watching this video back later outside of the live stream, let us know in the comments what you thought about Dan Orlovsky's comments there on the Pat McAfee show. Do you agree with him? Do you think that that this Green Bay offense is really starting to turn the corner and possibly getting in that elite status? Because it does feel like something changed there in Pittsburgh. And we've seen success all year long, but we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified every time we go live here in the future. All right, boys, you ready? It is that time of the week where we do Chalk Talk. Now, if you're new here, anybody that's here in the chat, if this is your first time tuning into Chalk Talk, appreciate you guys hopping aboard here. If the stream goes down, it's because AI triggered copyright. However, we're allowed to use it, so the stream will come back up, but we will have this video in its entirety later on, probably within an hour after this show is over. So you'll have it to go back and watch. You can also go to the playlist on our YouTube channel, and every single game that's been played by the Packers this year, we've done a Chalk Talk segment. So I think we got 14 plays today, gentlemen. This was a fun one to break down. I ain't going to lie. Can you guys see everything on the screen okay? Does everything look good? Yeah. All right. So let's jump into it. Again, just quick little stats. Obviously, the Packers traveled to Pittsburgh for Week 8. They ended up coming out with the dub 35-25. They were 3-point favorites last time I seen the line, so they obviously covered that spread by 7 points. Pittsburgh wins the middle 8, 7-0. Green Bay ends up winning the turnover battle 1-0. Now, yes, it's awesome that Edgerrin Cooper poked that ball out and created the fumble, right? And that was the only turnover of the game. That's absolutely huge. However, I just love the fact it seems like every week we're protecting the football a little bit better, right? Yeah. And that's going to be huge down the stretch. So those are the key statistics. We're going to lead this thing off. First quarter, 11:52 left in the first quarter. It's 0-0. This is a 3rd and 3 play. This is a negative. We're going to start off with a negative, okay? And I just want to point this out because, again, man, I know we won the game. We won it handily. But we can also, I love to go back, remove the emotion, watch the tape, and go, okay, what actually happened on this negative play for the Packers, right? It's important to understand what happened and why did it happen. So this is first quarter, 11:52 left, a 3rd and 3 play from their own 27-yard line. This is Rodgers hitting Wilson for 45 yards. This was on Keyshawn Nixon's play we were talking about, right?
Yep.
So, and you guys listen, if I make a mistake on this, call it out in the chat. Emilio, Tim, same thing. Last week, Emilio called out a Tampa 2 that I missed. Call it out. The goal isn't for me to look like I'm smart here. We know the accent ruins that whole damn spiel, all right? The goal here is for us to learn together and kind of understand exactly what happened. So the call, nickel 4-2-5, 33 spur, all right? So nickel 4-2-5 is real simple. You got 4 down linemen, and you got 2 stack backers. What's 33 spur? 33 spur means the safety that's in the box is number 33. Okay, that's Evan Williams. So it's 33 spur. Nickel 4-2-5, cover 3 or 33 spur, cover 1 hole. Okay, and the hole linebacker is going to be our boy Quay. Some people may call this a rat coverage because he doesn't really sit directly into the hole. It's almost like he fades out here and plays a little leverage outside. Okay, so you're going to have a deep center field play there from Xavier McKinney. You've got Quay who's going to be playing that hole. Everyone else across the board is man. Okay, you'll notice it's man coverage, right? Man coverage across the board. So it's cover 1 man, 1 deep safety, middle field close. Now, the reason this is a really extremely negative play for Keyshawn, you're supposed to play outside leverage. Yep. And this reminded me of the play in Dallas where he just kind of stopped on the play. It's not that Keyshawn's lazy. It's just kind of a little bit of a lack of awareness, like, oh, the play's still going on. Oh, crap, I didn't cover that correctly, right? We're going to run a TE at the top as well, okay? With a TE, it's real simple. First letter is the tackle, the T for tackle. He's going to go first and clear this out, and then Parsons is going to loop around, okay? That's the pressure you're trying to get. These guys are just a straight rush here. Okay. So that's what the TE is. This right here is the TE aspect, TE right at the top of the screen. Let's roll the tape. And again, you guys know how I feel about man coverage. Every single week when we give up an explosive, it seems like it's almost always, damn, man coverage. There it is, right? But let's watch the tape. Again, keying at the bottom here with Keyshawn Nixon's matchup. I'm pretty sure that's him right there. So ball snap, Rodgers back. Protection holds up pretty good. He rolls right. Right there's the problem, right? You see Key just kind of have a lapse. And I love – this is a veteran play by Aaron, right? The fact that he puts this thing only where his receiver can get it, and – at worst, it's going to be a one-on-one battle and it gets smacked out of bounds, right? But Keyshawn, with the lapse of judgment here, watch him, guys. You got to finish. This is man coverage. You got to keep your eyes on your work. See how he keeps taking his eyes off his work there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
and you got to know you only got one safety back there. And, even if it is X, at the end of the day, it's one man trying to get over there to help you. So you've got to finish these plays. Absolutely.
And he's playing in center field too, right, Emilio?
Right, yeah. And kind of shading to Metcalf's side, right? So you really, you're asking X to cover 45 yards easy coming across there. Rodgers can get the ball there faster than that. So, you
got to know you're on an island, right?
Right. Yeah.
You're playing middle field close. You got to know you're on an island.
And I think he didn't get a hand on him, Tim. I think that's what kind of shook him because Carrington at the top of the screen, he got a paw on DK and at least kind of bumped him off his route a little. He got pretty much a free release off the edge and was just running with him hip to hip. But when you turn your head and you're not on that hip to hip contact anymore, it's over.
Yeah. And the difference.
Go back pre-snap there. Let's take a look pre-snap where he's lined up because he's not pressed, right?
He's sitting close. I just don't think he got a paw on him. Like Carrington at the top punched, and Keyshawn just didn't get a hand on him. And I think that's kind of what.
This is what I think your guy. I think the call was press man here because they're going to have McKinney playing that hash and giving
over
a little
the top.
Yeah, it's almost like that bracket coverage. Down mirror here match. Is what you call mirror match, right? So you're just you're giving the appearance you may make contact, but really, and you may even just get a little hand on him, but you're looking to mirror his every move. You're going to get in his hip pocket, and you're going to try to. You're supposed to play outside leverage. However, it makes sense why he's playing him more squared up because he knows McKinney's going to be bracketing a little bit over the top there with DK.
And he forced the pass outside. Yeah, he just got turned around. That was it.
Now, let me give you the example of what if this was zone coverage. If this was a cover 3 look. Over the top technique, right? They may convert somewhere else, but I'll tell you what doesn't happen, a 46-yard gain down the sideline, right? So that's the difference when you're playing a cover 3 defense underneath or, over the top. That's the difference between, an explosive of 46 yards or 49, however many, what was it, 45 yards, and maybe a 12-yard gain, right? So again, that's how I see defense is make them use every inch of the field. I would much rather them have a 12-yard game for a first down than a 46-yard game. Come back, reset. You try to sugar in some cover 6, some cover 9, some cover 7, and get them really thinking they're more likely to make a mistake or hesitate, which you see later in the game. I want to say 3, if not all 3 sacks, definitely 2 of the 3 sacks came on zone coverage. That's not a coincidence, right? Because you're making the quarterback think. One of them was on cover 6, I believe. So, again, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this play. I know it's a negative play, and we, beat the crap out of the Steelers essentially. But I think it's important to understand here's what's going on with this particular explosive play. It was cover 1 man for sure. So.
Super wide look too on that up front there. Always love when we run that. You put the center in a bind.
Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers, GOAT as he may be, is not the only quarterback in the NFL that'll light your ass up when you get caught like this, right? We play upper echelon talent. They're going to see this and they're going to exploit it for sure.
Definitely. So here's this next play here is a good example. Let's fast forward. First quarter, 9:24 left, still 0-0. This is a 3rd and 15 play at Green Bay's 33-yard line. This is a Rashawn Gary sack. Okay. Now, notice 3rd and 15. Look at the play call. We're going nickel 3-3-5 cheetah, joker 1 Will Sugar, cover 6 match. All right. You got the 4 at the top. Let's explain what all this is.
Look at Micah hiding right behind our boy right there in the middle. I love it.
Right. So there's your 3 defensive linemen, right? And again, some people would say Gary's playing linebacker, he's playing edge. That I count it as a defensive lineman. Okay. So there's your 3, right? And then you got your 3 backers. Notice how they're actually mugging on the line of scrimmage here too. That's that Will Sugar that you see written right here. Will Sugar is your will backer right here with Edgerrin Cooper is showing pressure. Right. In all honesty, though, what he's looking to do is match the 2 here. That's all he's looking to do. Okay. So with that being said, cover 6, what's that mean? Half the field's cover 4, the other half is cover 2. What does match mean? If and then. Typically, it means mod. It means man on deep or man on demand, meaning if one of these receivers, any of these receivers, once they get 7 to 10 yards upfield, it now becomes man coverage. Okay. So you got zone principles. However, once they go vert, you latch on and it becomes man on down the field. It makes the quarterback really, really think 2 or 3 times on one particular play, especially pre-snap. So again, deep quarter with match principles, deep half over the DK Metcalf side, right? So that's the call, nickel 3-3-5. Now, what's cheetah mean? Cheetah is real simple. What you've got is 1 defensive tackle, okay? And then you've got 3 pass rushers rather than our normal nickel 4-2-5 where you got 2 big defensive tackles and 2 edge rushers. In this case, you've got 3 pass rushers. I'm pretty sure this is Barron Sorrell. There's Micah. That's the Joker 1 aspect. He's playing what we call the Joker spot, okay? His number's 1, so we say Joker 1. And, of course, you got Gary on this side down here. So let's roll the tape. Now look at McKinney playing half. Everybody else has got quarters up top. You see it, okay? Now watch the backer. Notice the backer is going to let him go. If he goes vert, guess what happens? This becomes man coverage, right? That's the match aspect. This is going to be match, right? So out here, you've got Bull who's looking to play curl flat if and when 88 goes out. Again, match coverage if and then. Now down here, you see he's already kind of matching up, but let's see if he falls off. So you see he's playing trail technique, right? So he's just kind of playing underneath. This guy latches on here. It's almost like this side of the field turns into man coverage, but you got that cover 6 look. I know people don't like those safeties playing deep, but I'm telling you, this is what makes Aaron hesitate. We talked forever. The thing he struggled with in Green Bay was 2-man under. This is the same type of thing with 2-man under. Instead of 2 guys deep with man coverage underneath, you've really got 3 guys deep, and you're playing the strong side of the formation where they have 2 and 3 targets over here. You're playing quarters on that side essentially. And then on DK's side, you're just kind of bracket covering DK on that side. He tried to run a little out and up. We've seen that on Chalktalk. We've seen that on the game plan. We drew up a play where he ran that same out and up. Yep. Almost looks like a wheel route on the outside. So again, it's a sack. Let's roll it back pre-snap now that you know all that. And let's watch it all unfold here. So now that you see the Joker 1, you see they fire 4 here. It's just pretty much a straight rush. Okay. Aaron looks left. What do you think he's seeing here, guys? He's going, well, crap.
Yep.
This looks like quarters, right? So he's probably going to bring his eyes down and look for another option. Let's see where his stripe goes. Now he's looking right. Guess what he sees? Okay, I know DK is going to try to get up the sideline. Well, he's got a bracket safety over there on the 2 side, right? So there's the hesitation. Now you just got to win your spots. And look at Gary waiting in the wings. So Micah gets the pressure, flushes him out. Gary cleans it up. Beautiful sound.
2 things. I love that we ran the 3-3. So it's the empty tray chips pretty much with the tight end and the back on either side because they were talking all week about getting 4 hands on the pass rushers. Well, you forgot about Micah, right? You get them when they're 3-3. You're taking Barron Sorrell and using a tight end and a tackle on Barron Sorrell and a running back and a tackle on Rashawn. Then you leave a one-on-one, and the center has to make a decision. Am I going to stay and help on Micah the whole time, or do I need to fall back and help on Kobe Wooden? I just love that that Hafley kind of leaned into that, right, and just give Micah a different chance because you're asking, 3 dudes down on the line of scrimmage to be stopped by 6, then you get a looper. It worked out nicely.
Yeah. So Micah wins his battle here, and then look at Rashawn Gary. He's kind of off screen. It's hard to see. He beats the chip and then beats the tackle for the sack.
And maintains the edge the entire time. How many times have we talked about in previous seasons, getting out of your rush lane, not maintaining the edge, getting too much depth. Rashawn did exactly what he needed to do. Micah did what he needed to do. And lo and behold, we meet at the quarterback. I love it.
And Quay pushed him so deep on that. I love how far he carried that number 2 all the way up the field because that made Rodgers hesitate. It looked like a dig that he was going to be able to drill.
Right.
Quay carried him and then bumped him off the route a little bit at the end there, made him work a little wide.
Great point, Emilio. I mean, if Quay misses that, you know Aaron's going to hammer that throw all day.
Coming out.
Layer that thing right over the top.
Yep.
Yeah, and the thing we've talked about with Quay forever, it's not about how good is this player, what's his PFF grade, right? What do the stats show? It's more about finding out what players do well and putting them in a position to do that. When Quay flips his hips and runs vertical or helps cover a dig like that, he's got the athleticism, he's got the height, he's got the coverage ability to take that stuff away. That's his superpower, in my opinion. If you were to say, how would you like to use both your stack backers in terms of Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker? I want Quay covering vertically. I want Edgerrin Cooper shopping underneath all day long. So